Your Technology Tutor Program, Episode 8. Today's topic, things you can do in Google Search besides search.
Welcome to the Your Technology Tutor Program, where you'll learn how to be more successful using personal technologies like Mac computers, iPhones and iPads, useful software, cool web tools, videotaping and editing, digital photography, and more. And now, here's the host of our program, your technology tutor, Chet Davis.
Welcome to today's program. Pleased to have you along with me as together we learn to become more successful in our use of personal technology. Well, many of us certainly know what Google is. Certainly a large technology company. And what I mean, though, is if we ask somebody to Google something, we're suggesting they use the Google search engine. Google's become a verb as well as a noun. Isn't that interesting? Well, today our topic is what you can do inside of the Google search bar, what I call the search bar, besides using it to search for a website or for something. Well, in part of searching for some specific things, that's really what today's program is about. Now, what we're talking about, of course, is a web page, a search engine it's called, and there's a couple different search engines. Google is probably the most familiar with many folks, followed by Bing, B-I-N-G, which is Microsoft's search engine. There's Yahoo. Then we have a whole bunch of others that still might be around. I know back in the day, there was one called Metacrawler. There was a whole bunch of different ones. But really, I think Google ends up being the dominant one, followed closely by Bing. I won't be careful with my Microsoft-minded friends. Now, Google was designed with simplicity in mind. When you just go to google.com, what you end up with is, a page with the word Google there and an empty space where your cursor's flashing, and then you can click Google search or I'm feeling lucky. Now, today I want to cover again some cool, fun, and very useful or helpful things you can do inside that same search bar. Now, today's program is the very first time I'm also recording a live video, a screen recording of the podcast, showing all the functions I'm telling you about. This will be available both on my website, that's yourtechnologytutor.com, as well as on my YouTube channel. You'll find my YouTube channel, youtube.com/yourtechnologytutor, in case you want to see what I'm doing if you're listening to the podcast, as an MP3, as an audio file. Now, for those of you who are viewing the video of this episode, Your Technology Tutor Podcast, you'll find the audio podcast version of this program in the iTunes Store. You probably don't want to listen to this episode again, but I invite you to subscribe to the podcast in iTunes so you won't miss a single episode. All right, on with the show. And by the way, the specifics of the things that I'm sharing with you today, along with any links, resources, websites, will be found in the show notes, and you'll find those at yourtechnologytutor.com/8, just the numeral 8. Because this is episode 8 of the program. All right, first thing we can do, we can use it as a spell checker. So simply enter the word you want to check in the search bar. And for those, again, viewing the video, I'm going to go ahead and type in something now, and let's misspell it. I'm going to put in the word parallel, but P-A-R-L-L-E-L, and click the search button. And what it ends up with is it shows us showing results for parallel. So it gives me the correct spelling. Sometimes you'll even be presented with the term that says, did you mean ... did you mean parallel with P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L. So it shows you the options. The nice thing is it's so smart, it's so well programmed that it's designed to look for words that are close to the common misspellings of the words that you typed, so that you can actually find out the correct spelling for something. That to me is really, really cool. So first thing we can do inside Google is to type a word in there that we want to find the spelling of. Secondly, if you want to find a definition for something, so what you do is you type the word define followed by the word you want to search. So I'm going to type in the word define, D-E-F-I-N-E, followed by, let's see, what's a good word to type in that I want to know? let's type in Stein, Stein. So it says define Stein. The reason why, that very organic, it just came to me. Sitting right here on my desk is a Stein from Germany, from a trip that I took with my wife several years ago. So there we go. And it says Stein, noun, a large earthenware beer mug. Not that it's time for beer yet, but I just, so one thing we can do, we can look for word definitions. And again, you do that by typing the word define plus any other word. Package tracking. This is really, really cool. The ability to track a package and the services included, built into the Google search bar to track. You can track a package that was sent via UPS, United Parcel Service, FedEx, or even the U.S. Postal Service. So to do this package tracking, let's go ahead and enter in a package number. Now this is an actual tracking number, and I'm going to go ahead and click Google search and see what it presents us here is track. Do you want me to track FedEx package number blah, blah, blah? Yes, please. So it presents you with a link to make sure that you want to track it, and it's nice because it lists the service. So if it was USPS, if it was UPS, it would be listed. We click on that, and then it will take us to the services page. So depending on the provider that you used or someone used to send you a package, it would go to their website. So it shows me the details of that package tracking. So it says, when it was shipped, the weight, the size. It lists all the stops, when it was delivered, and who even signed for it. So that is a very, very cool function, the ability to track packages without even having to go to the websites. Because sometimes when you go to their company websites, it can be a little tricky to find the right button. You have to click, what country you're in, sometimes what state or province you're in, and find that at your local. Sometimes they want you to sign up. No, I just want to track the package. So that's a quick and easy way to do it using the Google search bar. Next one is airline flight updates, and this is very cool. Maybe you have a friend or relative coming in on a flight later today, and to use the Google search bar, you of course can go to the company website. But if you just want to use the Google search bar, what you can do is just type in the airline name, the name of the airline, and the flight number. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Southwest. Let's say I have a friend coming in on Southwest Airlines today. From Austin, Texas, we type in Southwest 185, and you see it's a continuing flight. So the flight originated in Baltimore with a stop in Austin, Texas, then continued from Austin, Texas to Oakland, California. So those of you listening, what it presented me is it didn't actually take me to the Southwest website, but it's showing me right on side in the Google browser, Southwest Airlines flight number blah, 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 and it says on time for both legs of the flight, and again, it lists all the specific information, even with gate information. So very, very useful. And below that are the links to things like additional flight tracking on FlightAware, Trulia, and then even further down, I assume if I keep going down, there'll be the Southwest Airlines website. But so again, that's the ability to track flights. Now, if you're looking to purchase a flight, you can enter information in the Google search bar like flights to Honolulu, Hawaii. And let's go from Honolulu from Oakland. And then it lists a bunch of different information down here. Now, why I wanted to put that in here is to share with you there is another Google entity that just specializes in flights. And I think they're a little bit more than a year old by now. And it's google.com/flights. It's google.com/flights. And when that link is presented if you click, I just put flights to Honolulu from Oakland, but you could go right to google.com/flights. And it's a good way to present you with information related to flights. So it's a very easy to use interface. You got choices: round trip, one way, multi-city, and then from Oakland to Honolulu, you specify the dates, and then it provides you with a list of different airlines that you have as options with the total price from, so it gives you the minimum price. So it's a nice way, at very least, to get the initial information. If you're not going to do any ticketing, at least the information to give you kind of a snapshot as far as, the different options available for you if you're going to place plans for a flight soon. Next option, I want to show you what you can do on the Google search bar besides search is calculator. Now, the Google search bar will perform simple calculations. In fact, let's go ahead and do 132 plus 67, and we click return. And what pops up is a little kind of calculator. There's an on-screen calculator with the result, with the answer. And so it shows the formula, 132 plus 67 equals, and then in big letters is 199. So there's the ability to do sine, cosine, to do logarithmic equations. There's pi. It's a very sophisticated calculator. Now, the system will even handle more complex algebraic equation. Let's go ahead and search this, and you can see there's the calculator. So you can see, those of you listening, what I did is I did a complex algebraic equation with multiple factors, and it gave us the answer. By the way, if you're curious, it's 25i is the answer. I know you can't see this when you're listening to the program. The takeaway is that the built-in search bar in Google will handle complex as well as simple equations. So if you need help with your middle school child's homework, like I sometimes do, you can use the Google search bar and just don't tell the math teacher, right? Today's episode is brought to you by the online class titled Mastering Your iPhone. This is a class with more than 8 hours of instruction divided thoughtfully into short video lessons. When you learn the ins and outs of your iPhone, you'll absolutely love the increased efficiency, organization, and entertainment that awaits you. You'll learn to use the apps that come with every new iPhone, from Mail to Messages, Safari to Music, Contacts to Calendar, and more. You'll also learn useful global iPhone skills like Siri, dictation, and settings. You've spent some hard-earned cash on your iPhone, and you're paying a chunk of change for the monthly service plan. Why not get the most out of this cool mobile device? You will find this course on the Udemy platform, udemy.com, and look for Mastering Your iPhone. I'll also place a link to the class in the show notes for today's program. Oh, and by the way, the class is taught by yours truly, Chet Davis. All right, next option is filling in the blank questions. Sometimes the best way to ask a question is to get Google to fill in the blank by adding an asterisk. And the asterisk, which you obtain on your keyboard by pressing Shift and the numeral 8, at least here in the English US keyboard, Shift and the numeral 8 will give you the asterisk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Thomas Edison, Thomas, Edison invented, invented, and then asterisk by hitting Shift and the numeral 8 and hitting the search bar. And what it provided me is a list of results. What did Thomas Edison invent? When did Thomas Edison invent the light bulb? When did Thomas Edison invent electricity? What year? And so on and so on. So what are 3 things Thomas Edison invented? So very, very cool stuff. Google search works as a unit converter, which is great. I don't know why I'm so stuck on this and I have such a hard time. I love to cook. I cook all kinds of things. Some people would call it sometimes even gourmet cooking or gourmet cooking if you prefer. But, sometimes measuring things is always difficult for me. So if it says for 1 pint, well, I've got a 1 cup measuring device. Maybe I don't have the, marks on the side. Okay, 1 pint, type in 1 pint to cup. And right away in the search results, it tells me 1 U.S. pint equals 2 U.S. cups. So it's very nice because I can even click in either one of those 2 little windows. It gives me 2 windows. It says 1 U.S. pint and then the equals symbol and then the next button or space where I can click on the little arrow. And I have all kinds of choices from U.S. gallon, quart, pint, cup, ounces, tablespoon, teaspoon, cubic meter. Then we can go into the imperial gallon, the imperial quart, cubic foot, cubic inch. So tons of options for converting volume from 1 unit to another unit. I find that very, very helpful. Similar, we have the opportunity to convert currency. Maybe you're getting ready to take a trip overseas, and I want to find out what the U.S. dollar is relative to the euro. So what I can do is you simply type in 1 USD, or if you want U.S. dollar to euro. and it will give you the most current currency valuation. So for me, it says 1 US dollar equals 77 hundredths euro, or 0.77 euro. Also, which may be helpful, there is a graphic chart that shows you the history of the currency exchange between those two particular denominations. Next up, finding the time of any location on planet Earth. So let's go ahead and we enter the name of the city, followed by the word time. In fact, we can do time, Paris, France. And I click the return or enter bar, and it presents me right in the Google search with 8:26 in the p.m., Friday, April 5th, 2013, time in Paris, France. So an easy way to find out the time anywhere in the world. And then there's because it's Google search, there's all kinds of links below that. timeanddate.com, 24hourtimezones.com, etc. Let's do one more here. I'm going to go in the search tool above, the search bar above, and I'm going to enter Time USA. When we put Time USA, what's nice about this, particularly for U.S. folks, is it shows all 7 time zones with the current time. So very, very cool. Now, if you have forgotten there are 7 time zones in the U.S., I encourage you to go to Google the next time you have the opportunity and click Time USA to learn about the official time zones, because it does give us a link at www.time.gov, G-O-V. That's the official U.S. time zone, so it very clearly explains that for us. So continuing on with our upcoming trip, we want to know what the weather is going to be like in Paris, France, right? So let's put in weather, Paris, France, weather, and then Paris, comma, France. So it shows us the weather in Paris, France right now is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Which is helpful to me because I'm looking at this while I'm in the USA, which is, not on the metric system. If you wanted to see what that was like in Celsius, you simply click on the tool where there's an F and a C, and it switches over, and it shows me it's presently 7 degrees Celsius. And it's nice. It shows precipitation, it shows humidity, and then it shows wind as well. And it does show also a graph showing the last, 8 hours it looks like here, actually over the past several days. So we have the last week in terms of the temperature. So very, very useful tool. And then it gives a long-range weather forecast underneath that. So it shows for the next week plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in advance, showing us just a little graphic with the sun, the clouds, the possibility of rain, and then it shows the high temperatures and low temperatures for the particular 8 days ahead. Next thing we can do in Google search besides search is find local movie time. So I'm going to type in the word movies, M-O-V-I-E-S, and then put in your zip code. So I type in movies in a zip code, and it shows me the movies for a particular location. Now I happen to enter in a zip code that's near Beale Air Force Base in California. So it shows you the movies, and you can click on the link for the movies. You can click, there's a little button that says trailer, so you can actually see the trailer, the short promo film, the promo video for that. You can also enter in if there's a very specific film you want. For example, Jurassic Park 3D was just released here yesterday. So I'm going to type in Jurassic Park 3D and then put in a different zip code. So I put Jurassic Park 3D with a zip code, and it shows me here's the Jurassic Park 3D showtimes for Santa Rosa, California. So very, very useful function if you're looking for the showtimes for a film in your particular community, or maybe you're on vacation, maybe you're visiting, and you also want to find a showtime. Very, very useful option there. All right, it's time for our cool find. Each program, I'm going to use this segment to share a cool gadget, application, or web tool that I think is particularly worthy of sharing with you. This week, it's a website where you can create really cool-looking word clouds. Think of it like a graphic created only using words. It's called a Wordle, W-O-R-D-L-E, and you'll find it at wordle.net. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to enter in a bunch of words, a bunch of terms, whatever, and you're going to come up with again, what they call a word cloud, which is a bunch of words on a page rearranged graphically. Folks like using these. They make great title screens for video presentations, for slideshows. They make nice kind of posters for kids doing a school report, a bunch, maybe famous authors, famous individuals from a particular heritage or culture. It's a really cool thing. Now, what I've got is I've got a document over here from Pages where I entered a bunch of terms. So I'm going to copy and paste those instead of taking time to just type them all in. And then when you go to Wordle.net, click on the Create button. And it says, paste in a bunch of text. So I'm pasting in a bunch of text, and I've got probably 10 or 12 different words there. The trick here, and this is something you learn by using it, if it's a word, a phrase that has more than one word, for example, I have Chet Davis. Well, if you want to do that, you need to leave, you can't do spaces because it'll treat it as a separate word. So it'll treat Chet and Davis as two separate words. So I have two compound words that I made up. Chet Davis together and technology tutor also together. Then you simply click the word go, G-O, right on the page, and it will take just a few minutes here to create a word cloud called a Wordle. All right, now if you're seeing the video of this, you obviously see that it has presented us with a cool looking word cloud. For those of you listening to the podcast, what I have is a black background with my words kind of at a bunch of different angles: photography, technology tutor, Facebook, video, cameras, Chet Davis, Apple, iPad, iPhone, digital editing, internet, iPod, email. Really cool. Now, what's nice about Wordle, what I like, and I've been using Wordle for about, I want to say about 4 or 5 years, you have the ability to modify it. So what you want to do, on top of the menu, you can change the language, you can select a different font, but the place that I like to play the most is in the layout or color. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the layout button and then scroll down. Right now I have the layout selected any which way. So it has words, not really so many straight up and down, not many vertical, not many horizontal. They're kind of like somebody just spilled out the words into a box. But I can select horizontal, and all of the words now appear horizontally. And I can also select vertical, so all the words are presented vertically. You can do mostly horizontal, so they're mostly horizontal, which is the way most of us in the Western world at least choose and are trained to read. But you can do half and half, which is nice as well. So it makes kind of a nice graphic, and the words, many of them, they're in different colors. I've got green, blue, and red as my choices. You can change that as well. Next to the layout button is a button called color. Now, there's different color schemes, I should say. Right now I have the red, green, blue with a black background. When you look at the menu, you'll see there's, I think, about 16 different color schemes. Some of them have a black border behind them. That means you're going to have a black background. The other choice is a white border or a white background. So I'm going to select the color choice called Organic Carrot. That gives me a white background with a bunch of different colors. I think there are, 5 different colors for the words themselves. What's nice is if you've got a color scheme you like, but you don't like how that particular layout appears, underneath color, the top choice is called Recolor. And Recolor will give us, using the same color scheme, same background, same font colors, it'll just kind of mix it up and say, okay, let's try something different. And what's nice, at the very bottom, we have the ability to say, I want the exact palette colors, a little variation, some variation, wild variation. Let's go ahead and select. There's a wild variation for those of you seeing it. Again, it changed it quite dramatically. So we still have the white background with a bunch of different colors. So very, very cool. Again, that's called Wordle, and that's this episode's cool find. So continuing on with search in the Google search bar, next thing I want to do is show you that you can find the sunset and sunrise times. So enter in the word sunrise or sunset. I'm going to put in sunset, and let's put in San Francisco, CA for San Francisco, California, and it says very quickly, bing, it pops up in the search page, 7:36 p.m. sunset in San Francisco, California. Now, this is very nice if you have an evening activity. Maybe it's late in the summer and the county fair is going to have fireworks, and you want to know, when's it going to be getting dark? Maybe you want to go to do something in your backyard. You want to light those tiki torches and give them a try. You need to know when it's going to be dark. Or maybe, like me, you're a photographer or a video producer, and you want to know, when are we going to find that golden hour? Well, there's a couple apps you can use on your iPhone, your iPad, and your computer to do that, which I'll share with you in a forthcoming podcast. But it is nice to know, that'll tell me right around sunset this evening. So what some folks call the golden hour, I can be out there in hopes that I get a great sunset shot as the sun dips around the Golden Gate Bridge. All right, next thing we can do inside of Google Search is to find a local business. So let's say I'm looking for a florist. So I put in florist and the zip code, and what comes up is a map with the florists in the zip code that I entered, and then there's a list of the different then there's a list of the florists that show up in that specific zip code. So it gives their name, it gives the website link if that's there, and then the contact information, the physical address, along with a telephone number. So very, very useful. Perhaps you want to find an Italian restaurant. So I enter Italian restaurant San Francisco, and my goodness, the map is heavily populated. I've got some good choices for dinner tonight. So again, it's nice. It gives us a map, and if we click on that map, it'll launch Google Maps to show us additional information. And it also shows us a good long list of results with the name of the establishment, with a web link if there is one. It even shows Google reviews and Zagat reviews. It shows the physical address and the telephone number. So a great and easy way to find local businesses near you, whether you're at home or if you're traveling on the road. Next up inside the Google search bar is you can track your favorite sports teams. Now, as I researched this, I found out that as a rule, this function is enabled inside of Google Search for many of the leagues, including National Basketball Association, the National Football League, the National Hockey League, and Major League Baseball. So I'm going to go ahead and type in SF Giants. The season just started. So what's nice is it'll show us if there is, in fact, a game in progress. Now, what shows up in my Google search page is it says Giants. It gives them the record, 2-1. They're first in the National League Western Division. And then it shows the next game, AT&T Park, San Francisco, California, today at 1:35 p.m. Pacific time. They're playing the St. Louis Cardinals, whose record is 1-2, and of course the San Francisco Giants, who are now 2-1. And then it shows the game after that as well. So they're playing again tomorrow, Wednesday, April 3rd. Wow. And it shows the result of the most recent game as well. Yesterday, the Giants played the Dodgers. The Giants coming out as the winner, a score of 5-3. Very, very useful information if you want to follow your favorite sports team. Again, all you have to do is enter the franchise name inside of the Google search bar, and then it will produce the information relative to the most current game, the game that's happening that day. And it's a nice thing because I know when I've been on the road during the World Series, all I had, I forget where I was, but I didn't have access to television, so I could just check my phone every now and then. I just opened up the Google web browser, and I would just type in San Francisco Giants and just refresh the page, and it keeps updating the score in the middle of a game. So very, very useful if you've got a favorite sports team you want to follow. That's it for today's program. Thanks so much for joining me. The links presented in the program, along with a summary and additional notes and resources, will be placed in the show notes. You'll find that at yourtechnologytutor.com/8. Again, yourtechnologytutor.com/8, the numeral 8. Next program, our topic is common digital photography and camera questions. Be a good one. Until then, your technology tutor, Chet Davis, signing off. Have a great rest of the day.